welcome back to And Read Another Chapter, and I am Shalise, and I have a humongous book stack here. So if you are from Sidebuster Living, and I won't use this caveat in all my videos, so just bear with me, but if you're from Sidebuster Living, you know that we are trying really hard to live on a small budget. And so I have a huge book haul here, and if you're from that, you might be thinking, wait a minute, and I would understand that. So let me kind of explain this book haul. Let me explain, and we'll just kind of move right on into it. First of all, a lot of these are based on the fact that I have a sweet sister that messaged me and said, I want to do something for you. What would be something that would just delight your heart, kind of thing. Those are my words. Those aren't her words. It's a very flowery paraphrase. And I said, I just would like to buy a couple of books that I've been wanting. And she's like, okay. And she sent me about $75. She's like, just go. And I have a feeling it's kind of like my birthday gift. So that's where a lot of this came from. And then my daughter and I had a list of books that we had wanted to do. That'll probably be another video because this is going to be a long video. And so we sold everything we could, and we brought in about $40 to do this with. And then the rest of it was just kind of covered out of my own pocket. So, and that was about $25, I'm going to be honest. So we used most of these from Book Outlet. Oh, that was the other thing. Discover. I use my Discover card, and I collect those points, and then I redeem those points for for more books, basically. It's pretty much what it goes on for. So it covered that as well. And so we used Book Outlet because I was seeing some really good prices on there when I was comparing it to my Amazon cart from them. And so that's one. We also, I'm pretty sure all of these are Book Outlet. And then Book Outlet, what they have is if you recommend it to anybody, you get a $10 credit. I don't know what you would get out of it. I'll leave that information down below if you want to try it out, because a lot of these books were like $2, $3, $4, or $5 a piece, and they were like $12, $13, $14, $15 on Amazon. I think that's it. I just want to kind of get into the books. So I'm just going to start pulling off from the top here. Okay, let's get in. First of all, I'm not even going to put prices on here. This one is Portrait in Sepia by Isabel Allende, I believe. Gorgeous cover. And I don't know too much about this or the author. I actually have seen a lot of this author around, and I will either love her or hate her. But our library doesn't have any of hers. So this one is in 19th century Chile, which the author is from Chile. Aurora del Valle suffers a brutal trauma that erases all recollections of the first 5 years of her life. So this is 1800s. Raised by her regal and ambitious grandmother Paulina de Valle, Aurora grows up in a privileged environment but is tormented by horrible nightmares. Forced to recognize her betrayal at the hands of the man she loves, and to cope with the resoluting solitude, she plunges into the mystery of her past. So, this says completing the classic trilogy she began. Darn it. This is actually book 3. I just saw that. Oh well. So this was, I want to say this was like $1 something. So, yeah. Okay, so I think Zorro.
What?
She wrote a adaptation of Zorro. That's where I'm recognizing it. And Daughter of Fortune. I've seen that at thrift stores. So there's that one.
This one looks really cool.
I don't remember putting this in my cart. So because I'm reading the back and I'm like, this is not something I would have chosen. I don't remember putting this in my cart at all. But this is Manon Lescaut by, let me see, Manon Lescaut by, there we go. And this story is when the young nobleman Degrue, hey, French, tell me. Degrue, you think Degrue? Lays eyes on the beautiful and charming Manon Lescaut.
Lescaut.
He immediately falls in love with her and they elope to Paris, incurring the wrath of his family and forfeiting his inheritance. However, he struggles to satisfy her taste for luxury, frittering away the little he has left, and his domestic bliss finally disintegrates when he finds out that Manon has betrayed him for a rich lover. It sounds like a Edith Wharton book. I genuinely don't remember putting that in my cart.
I remember the cover. I just thought you took it out of your cart.
I thought so too. This is a hunka munka chunka. This is by Alexander Dumas, who wrote Count of Monte Cristo and The Three Musketeers. And this is the sequel to The Three Musketeers. I'm trying to remember who I saw about this. I don't know if it was Krista from Books and Jams or I don't remember. So I saw somebody say this and I had to pick it up because I'm like, the sequel to The Three Musketeers, but holy guacamole, this is a chunker. This will take me like a month of Sundays to read. Much longer than that, actually. But yeah, whew. I've used the translator. I'm like, that's not who this was written by. But anyway, Three Musketeers has a sequel.
This is huge. There it is.
Christy from Organized Mom has been doing more book videos on her book channel, and this is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and she really liked it, and I've seen nothing but good from the channels I watch. And this is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I don't remember if I said that. And this is A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and these are not easy to find, and this one was, I think, in a damage, so it was like even in a clearance. So I did pick it up. I am curious about it. Fantasy is not my typical genre.
Hi.
And it's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which if I had to have a favorite Disney, that would probably be it. I'm not much of a Disney person. My favorite of all times is The Emperor's New Groove, which has nothing to do with princesses or anything. But I love Belle, and I love that it's the only Disney movie that has a slow falling in love story. It's not a instantaneous, which I appreciate. So, probably Beauty and the Beast is my favorite. So if this is a retelling of it, I want to know more. But I know that I selected hardback on this one, and I got paperback, so I'm kind of bummed about that. I specifically clicked over to the hardback because I wanted this to work together, but we have Nevermore, which my daughter has read, and then
No, your sister, Lorna.
I thought you said you read it. Never mind. Okay, we have Wondermore and we have Wondersmith, which I believe is the second one. So we have these two that I know my daughter would like to read. I've heard nothing but good things about this one, and this is actually why I went to Book Outlet, just to see if they had it cheaper, and they did. I think this was like $5 where it's like 15, 18 on Amazon. It's really expensive. But this is Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. And then when all the middle grade videos came out, I'm like, I really want to read this. And so we found it, we got it, and I will read it and enjoy it, I'm sure. This is kind of a funny buy. So this is like $1 something, and it's in really poor condition. So it's definitely used. But one of my favorite TV shows of all times is Murder, She Wrote with Jessica Fletcher. And I saw a Murder, She Wrote, Jessica Fletcher, Hook, Line, and Murder. And I wanted to read it. I wanted to read kind of this idea of what she would have written. So I'm really excited, and that's pretty much all I can say. It's totally a cheesy read, I'm sure, but I'm looking forward to that. I should try to keep this like all middle grade and then all upper grade, I'm sure. This is a Mo and Dale mystery. Actually, last year I read the first one of this, 3 Times Lucky by Sheila Turnage, and I was pleasantly surprised how much I really enjoyed that book. And this is, I think, the 3rd in the series. Yes, and they didn't have the second one, which is unfortunate. So I think I can read these out of order. So I don't know. I ended up just really enjoying the Mo and Dale mysteries. They're kind of upper middle grade, I think. So looking forward to that. That's all I can tell you that. This one, I can't remember if I picked this up on Amazon with the credits that I got, or if I got this on Book Outlet. I don't remember, but this is the length of a string, and I saw this on Goodreads and just knew that it was the kind of book that I would really enjoy. This is Amani knows exactly what she wants as her bat mitzvah gift: to find her birth parents. She's adopted and she loves her family and her Jewish community, but she's always wondered where she came from. When Amani's great-grandmother Anna passes away, Amani discovers an old journal among her books. It's Anna's diary from 1941, the year she was 12 and fled Europe during World War II, sent by her parents to seek refuge in New York. Anna's diary records her journey to America and her new life with an adoptive family. And when Amani reads it, she begins to see her own family in a new way. Weaving together past and present, this captivating novel explores family identity and the history that makes us who we are. So I saw that on Goodreads and I'm like, I will need to read this now. And of course, library doesn't have it, so it had to come home with me. Okay. And then after hearing Chantal talk so much about this, and I've checked it out from the library, had to return it. I've had it in my Amazon cart for years. I think it's been years. How long has this been written? I think it's been at least 2 years. I'm pretty sure. Copyright 2017. I've had it in my cart for at least 2 years, and this is forever or a long, long time. And it is the story of foster care, I believe.
Yeah, they're in a foster home.
I think it's a foster, not adoption. That one's adoption, this one's foster. And fostering or foster care is something that I would like to do at some point. Probably not right now with little ones and all of that, but at some point I would like to do it, and just kind of collecting a repertoire of books that I really enjoy, kind of in that genre. So I've heard nothing but good things about that, so I'm really looking forward to that. But something I haven't heard good things about, but it was really one of those books that I have been wanting to read so long, and I saw it on Book Outlet. It's like, okay, I'm going to get it here because I've been really wanting to read this. And then I got a text last night saying, you might want to read the reviews and the negative reviews and pre-read it. And I'm so bummed, but that is The List by Patricia Ford. And this is basically a dystopian world where there's only so many words allowed. They're not allowed to, the city of Ark is the last safe place on Earth to make sure humans are able to survive. Everyone in the Ark must speak List, a language of only 500 words. That is everyone except Letta, an apprentice to the wordsmith. Letta can read all the words that have ever existed, forbidden words like freedom, music, and even pineapple. Tell her about a world she's never known. Sounded so interesting, so now I'm like, oh man, you're gonna ruin it. So we'll see where that one goes. I got the second book to a book that I haven't read yet, but I know I'm going to really like it. And this is, I think, from Amazon, their used book section. And so this is the second one to Horton's Miraculous Mechanisms that Amanda from the Curly Reader really read and really enjoyed. And I already knew, I got the first one and I already knew that I was really going to enjoy this, so I picked up the second one. I'm kind of frustrated that I have a softback and a hardback. I kind of like to keep them the same, but Oh well. So this is another one, Magic Mystery and Another Very Strange Adventure. And then for my classics, kind of building it up, we have The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. And this has a lot of beautiful artwork in it. I think almost every page has some kind of artwork. Here's another one. So really looking forward to this one. One of those that I just haven't read yet and want to, and all of that. I got this as a secondhand book. Oh, where did we learn about this? I think we were watching Christian girls like top books that she really likes. If I find that video on that channel, I'll leave it linked down below because that's where I heard about this one. This is The Promise and the Blessing, a historical survey of the Old and New Testament by Michael Harbin. This one is really expensive new, and I picked up used, and it is highlighted and it is underlined. And when I got it, I just left it on the table. I was busy doing other things. My husband picked it up and was like, this is really interesting. Where did you learn about this? So my husband's probably more of a critique person than I am. So the fact that he said that much was kind of exciting to me. But this simply is, the Bible is a collection of writings that together tells a unified story, but exactly how do all these pieces fit together? In a single volume, The Promise and the Blessing connects the dots of the Old and New Testament books to reveal a big picture of salvation history, organized chronologically rather than canonically. This book traces the flow of Israel's history and shows how the New Testament proceeds out of the Old. One of the things that I really, really liked about this, just from the introduction, is how should we interpret the Bible. And we have a traditional view and a modern view, and then we go into kind of how they are going to present the Bible. The two basic schools of thought regarding the Bible begin with drastically different assumptions. The traditional school assumes that the Bible is a historical document to be taken at face value. Scholars who follow this approach recognize that there are items in the Bible that are difficult to understand or believe. However, because the Bible has been shown correct so often, these scholars prefer to take a wait-and-see attitude regarding controversial areas. The modern school, on the other hand, assumes that the Bible is essentially pious fiction to be accepted only when supported by modern science, despite the fact that this assumption is constantly being shattered by archaeology. Archaeology does not prove the Bible. In this book, we will follow the first view because I consider that in scholarly work, it is more honest to allow text to have it say until proven wrong, especially when it has been proven correct so often. Another thought that this book had that I really appreciated is under the modern view. In distinction, the second school of interpretation is called the modern view, also known as the liberal or critical view. The latter term is unhelpful because it could imply that the traditional view does not analyze issues critically. So I kind of like things like that. But okay, here's what we're going to address. We have a few more books over here. So this one is a Puffin Modern Classic. And I had this book at one point, but I hated the cover. It was such an 80s like romance cover and I hated it. And so when we were packing up to moving, I just was like, if I find this book again, I'll pick it up, or maybe I can find a different cover. And I did. It was really cheap. I think it was like $2. This is The Summer of My German Soldier by Betty Green. And this is from the minutes before the train pulled into the Jenkinsville, Arkansas station. Patty Bergman knew something exciting was going to happen, but she could never have imagined that her summer would be so memorable. German soldiers of war have arrived to make the prison camp in Jenkinsville their new home. To the rest of her town, these prisoners are Nazis, but to Patty, a young Jewish girl with a turbulent home life, one boy in particular becomes a friend. Anton relates to Patty in ways that her family never can, but when the forbidden relationship is discovered, will Patty risk her family and town for the understanding and love of one boy. I believe Sunlight had this as a read in one of their upper historical, not historical fiction, upper history reads. I fell in love with Wolf Hollow this past year, and so I picked up another with Lauren Wolk. This one, the Scott Odell Award. This is Beyond the Bright Sea. And I don't know too much about it, but I really loved Wolf Hollow. This one is 12-year-old Crow has lived her entire life on a tiny isolated piece of the starky, beautiful Elizabeth Island on the Massachusetts. So that's all I'm going to read about that one because I'm starting to see little spoilers and I kind of want to be surprised. I wonder if this is going to be kind of one of those, if you like Where the Crawdad Sings, you might enjoy this one. I don't know. I'm just going to read that on later on.
I got this at the library, but I never read it.
Yeah. So this one, we just finished in our homeschool a lot of World War II, specifically Winston Churchill, which actually covered a war that Kitchener had with the Africans, World War I and World War II. And so this one I'm really curious about. This is Churchill and Orwell, The Fight for Freedom. And it is both George Orwell and Winston Churchill came close to death in the mid-1930s. Orwell shot in the neck with a trench line in the Spanish Civil War, and Churchill struck in a car in New York City. If they died then, history would scarcely remember them. Also, Churchill was taken prisoner during a fight that he went to. He was like a war correspondent for. So there's different things with that too. So I'm really curious about this one. Like, really curious. I might start that one really soon here. I had this one also in California and never got to it. And I've heard a lot more about it recently. And so now I'm really dying to read it. And this is an unforgettable novel based on the life of Ricky Richard Anywar, who at the age of 14 was forced to fight as a soldier in the guerrilla army of notorious Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony. And so this is like a fictional story of his. So, and it has an afterword by this boy that it's based off of. So it's a novel based on the true story from the Ugandan Civil War. And I'm really interested to read this. Another one that I've had in my Amazon cart and then saw it on Book Outlet is The Unexpected Life of Oliver Cromwell Pitts by Avi. And Avi is a hit or miss for us. So we'll see where this one goes. But in a seaside town in England, Oliver Cromwell Pitts wakes to find his father missing and his house flooded by a recent storm. He is alone in his ruined home with no money and no food. Oliver's father has left behind a barely legible note. He's gone to London, where Oliver's sister Charity is in trouble. When Oliver finds money that could save his life, he can't resist the temptation to take it. But his crime is soon discovered. With the authorities chasing after him, Oliver flees, following the trail of his father and sister. The journey is full of thieves, adventures, and treachery, and 18th century London might be the most dangerous place of all. It almost makes me think of Dodger by Terry Pratchett, one of my favorite reads, and it's kind of a retelling of the thief from Oliver Twist. And it's kind of like his story. And so this kind of made me think of it, and I really love Dodger. So I'm really hoping I like this one as well. And then last one to show you for this part, we have another section that we're going to go into, but last one from this part, I actually won a $15 Amazon gift card from Celebrate Lit. Celebrate Lit is a Christian publishing company that kind of highlights different authors and books. And they had giveaways, and I won a $15 one, and I knew immediately I wanted to get the Paris Dressmaker. We had heard so much about this, and then finally I saw, this is my Paris loving daughter, and I am a former seamstress. I used to have a sewing business where I would make clothes, and so I figured this is Christian fiction, we should be good. And this is based on the true accounts of, oh my goodness, a Parisonese resisting Nazi occupation in World War II, from fashion houses to the city streets. So this has two timelines, and it's actually more like a span, I guess I should say. This is Paris 1939 and Paris 1943, and two people There's the stories of two dressmakers. So yeah, I'm really excited. It's Christian fiction. I'm sure she'll have not a problem reading it.
The funny thing is, I thought, because I had this on my Goodreads account for a giveaway I entered, and I thought I had won it, but my mom had gotten it, so I was really happy. So if I win it, I get 2 copies, but...
You get 2 copies.
Or I get my own copy. She gets her own copy.
She has been stealing my books lately, saying, I need them on my shelves. It makes my shelves look pretty. They're my books. She's also like, I need a job just so I can buy all the books. And I understand that because that's what my paper route did. My paper route bought all the books that I wanted, so I get it. So this is the last one that I have to share with you. I'll share this book in case somebody out there would be looking for it. The one classic book, again, I don't remember putting in my cart, and she remembers me removing it from my cart.
I don't even remember you putting it in there.
This one, I don't remember putting this in here at all. This is Thieves of Weirdwood, and even reading this, I'm just like, this is not my kind of cup of tea. Startling, original, and epic from the creator of Artemis Fowl. 12-year-old thieves Arthur and Wally are determined to steal their way up the ranks of the notorious Blackfeathers gang, with loan sharks chasing after Arthur's father and Wally's brother's hospital due. They're in need of serious cash fast. Okay, that sounds interesting. Then we get here. When Arthur spots some wealthy strangers exiting a seemingly deserted mansion, he smells an opportunity for a big score. Little do the boys realize they have stumbled upon Weirdwood Manor, the headquarters of a magical order who protect the balance between the real and imaginary worlds. When Kingsport is besieged by nightmarish creatures, it is up to these young thieves to save their city. Filled with giant tentacle monsters and heroes literally ripped from the pages of an adventure stories. Okay, that does sound interesting. This imagination-bending series is perfect for fans of the Five Kingdoms, Arusha, and Nevermore.
Oh, okay.
So I will probably read it first if you're interested, but I'm sorry, that cover just does nothing for me.
It's weird.
Oh, would you? Really? So that's my haul. Then we have one of the reasons we went to, you have to get in here, sweetheart. One of the reasons we got on Book Outlet was to build, she's decided that she wants more classics to read this year, and I don't have a lot, and she's like, you know, if we're going to be buying these, can we just start my classics shelf? And that's something that I had planned to do, that each of my kids that get basically a classic shelf as their dowry to leave with. But first, before we get to that, we do have a couple of books here that I did pick up secondhand at the thrift store. The first one I have is A Light of My Heart by Jenny Aitken. Jenny Aitken actually wrote a book that I really loved in my teen years called Camellia, and it is like these 3 sisters that are they have Magnolia and Larkspur and Camellia, and each book follows a different sister. And I just love Camellia, who was a pregnant widow, and it was kind of her story. And this doctor that comes to town, who is a Zen Buddhist guy, and that's actually a direct quote from his aunt, who is just always making fun of his Zen Buddhi thing that he's got going on. And it's just funny. It's just so funny. It's a hysterical romance Christian thing. And I had read these ones, and actually talking about working to buy books with working paper routes to buy books. This was actually another series that I had purchased with paper route. So I found the first one. There's actually 2 more in the series.
Yeah, this is book 1.
Go ahead.
Okay, we have Safe in His Arms by Colleen Coble.
Christian Arthur. Sometimes it takes a stranger to see you as you really are. Born and raised on sprawling Texas land, Margaret O'Brien, that has to be O'Brien. I think it's O'Brien, but it's not I-A-N, it's I-E-N. Prides herself on her competence as a rancher, but her father believes she's made for more than just dawn to dusk work. He wants her to have a love of a good man, to raise children, to build a life. But Margaret gave up such dreams years ago. She's convinced no man would have her, that the ranch is her life now. So So when Margaret's father hires Daniel Cutler as a new foreman, she's frustrated and suspicious. Then an overheard conversation links him with a gang of bank robbers, and she's downright worried. Daniel swears he's not involved, but Margaret's not convinced. She knows the man still has secrets. But would a criminal be so kind and talk so convincingly of his faith? As a series of tragic accidents threatens all she holds dear, Margaret must decide what to trust. Her own ears, her best judgment, or what her heart keeps telling her. Never trust your heart.
And
Deceitful above all things.
Colleen Cobble was the one that Anathema.
Yes, she wrote Anathema. And then Hattie and the Big Sky. You read this a while ago. No, you didn't. Okay.
I owned it, but then I gave it away as a gift.
So we have this one picked up again. And then we have Divergent, which is one of my friend's favorite books. And I had read them one time, and now I want to kind of go through it again and kind of pre-read it for other young people in my life that are interested in it. So that's what these are. Adriana read those, but she's also 17 at the time. Okay, so then we started the classical haul of this.
We also have 11 classics that we got, and I really like the covers of these, but I guess I'll just start with this one.
Wait a minute. Okay, this is the one that we started last night.
Yeah. We have Dracula. Technically, this one's hers, but
I want to read Dracula. That is Dracula and Frankenstein, which this is one I own, are two classics that I would like to try to get done. I know. Hi! That I would like to try to get done this year. So I picked up Dracula. My sister-in-law read this, and she's very conservative on what she reads and really enjoyed it. So I'm like, okay, I want to read a vampire classic.
so, and I want to read this in like October when
I need to read it first.
Halloween type things. I also have Sherlock Holmes, or The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I read books 1 through 4 of Enola Holmes, and oh my gosh, those books are amazing. And so I got The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, so can't wait to read that.
Kind of start her Sherlock adventure.
Next I have Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens.
We are on a Dickens kick this year. We're going to read Dickens because Dickens.
The next one is Great Expectations, also by Charles Dickens.
And this is the one that we're reading at night together, her, me, and my eldest son.
And then
This was the vote.
next we have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I read
Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility. I thought Jane Austen wrote Jane Eyre, but she didn't, so
Yep, Bronte's.
getting my authors mixed up here. The next one I have is Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. I read this one many, many years ago, so I now have my own copy of it.
So you can leave my Barnes & Noble's classics alone.
Yeah, still have them in my room. Next one I have is Little Women, and this is my copy because I have her copy. I just have to get the rest of them.
So Little Women was actually printed in like 2 books. This Little Women and Good Wives, and then we came out with Little Men and Joe's Boys. So I think this is based on the printing of those books.
So I have that one. I've read this one more than once, I think.
It's Little Women.
Next we have A Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. And Around the World in 80 Days, also by Jules Verne.
I love this book. This is a really good one. This is a really fun.
We watched the movie of it. So.
Yeah, we haven't read the book yet.
And I have one more, and I can't wait to show you guys that one. But the next one I have is The Prince and the Pauper by Mark
Twain.
Why? I don't like Mark Twain at all.
I think you might, of all the books, this would be probably the one that you enjoy the most. I really liked his Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, and I'm really enjoying Roughing It by him, which is kind of like an American discovery kind of Gold Rush and the Unclaimed West and all of that. And it's really interesting. It's also really long. So it's taken me quite a long time to read that, a couple of years.
I didn't realize it was by Mark Twain
Mhm.
until just now.
But you did read not Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer.
Mark Sawyer.
Mark Sawyer. You did read Tom Sawyer, and that was
Yeah.
not your favorite.
Okay.
And then the one she's excited most about.
We saw a play version of this on YouTube. It was like a 24-hour free thing, and then they had and if you wanted
and
to
then
watch
they
it.
removed it.
Yeah.
Until you pay for it.
And then my mom showed me the movie, and ever since I've been like obsessed with it. You should see my room now. And that is The Phantom of the Opera. I am so excited to read this. I don't know if I can wait till October to read it. I wanted to read it in October because it gives like the Halloween type thing.
Vibes.
Yeah, if you know what I mean. So I might have to read it twice this year, but that's fine. So I had this one, and that is all of my classics that I have.
She's our classic shelf. I also really loved Phantom of the Opera when I was about her age. I loved the music. If you are a Christian, I would recommend you reading it, watching it first. It is dark. It is borderline gothic. And it's the kind of thing that I have no idea why I like this. I should not like this at all. A guy is very obsessed over a young girl, very possessive, everything that I don't like. But there's just, the Phantom of the Opera just is like a Cinderella story for guys. And it's a Cinderella, it's a Beauty and the Beast, it's
Everything.
It's everything. And it's just, I really enjoy it. So just wanted to say that caveat. Be careful in watching it. There is in the movie, okay, so Andrew Lloyd Webber is a very interesting guy. Let's just leave it at that. So not necessarily the same as the book, but I did read the book also long time ago, and I read another one. And I think it was called Music of the Night by Susan Keyes. And I would recommend that for adult readers. So, and it kind of has more of the Phantom of the Opera story, more like his life in the circus kind of thing. So more of his story. So anyway, we have all of these classics that she has now added to her shelves. And these were, again, about $3 to $4 a piece. Even some of these chunkers. These were a really good deal for the classics. Really good. So,
I gotta go add into my now empty shelf. Well,
yeah, go put them back on your poor shelf. So that's what I have for you for a book haul. I don't know when the next one will be. It'll probably be a long time. Maybe, I don't know. The day after we had put our order in, a friend of mine, same friend, we chat a lot apparently, messaged me and was like, every time you would buy a book, why don't you just take that cash and put it in a jar for your homestead? And I was like, that is actually a really brilliant idea. Just something I haven't done. So that will probably be where we go now. As you can see, we have years worth of reading right here. And between Historathon that I just finished last month and Middle Grade March that I'm doing this month, like a lot of the books that I've been trying to kind of go through and weed out are getting done and getting out of here if I don't like them anyways. And so I've got more books to read this year. I do know my siblings and I am the eldest of 9. So one of the things that we did this past year was let's have 1 year where instead of somebody sending like everybody sending little bits that they want to do for our siblings, let's just collectively put all the money in a pot and do one large gift for that sibling. And so like one got a tablet to do art. Another one got money to have a plane ticket to come visit me, and another one is getting cash for the car he's saving up for. So all of that to say, I know that for mine there was a toss-up of gift cards to go buy books. So if that's the case, there might be another book haul. I'm really looking forward. I love books so much, and I love to read, and I know that I've said that before, but I'll say it again. It's just a lot of fun. But now that I have finally filmed this video, I need to go find places on my shelves for these books, and we'll see when the next book video comes out. So thank you for watching, and until next time, have another cup of coffee
And
read another chapter.
That was a bad angle.